If you were to visit Carlsbad Caverns National Park in southeastern New Mexico, one would find an area which includes a number of caves, including some which are recently discovered and quite long, and the Carlsbad Cavern, which is very popular for tourism, which includes more than 30 miles of caves, including the largest single area in North America, the Big Room, as it is known, which stretches more than 8 acres. How did this form? Well, the short answer is that an ancient marine reef laid down a great deal of limestone. And as the elevation of the land changed, as Western North America was uplifted, then this came to the level of groundwater and then above groundwater. And during this time, acid dissolved the limestone, creating a cave system. 250 million years ago, in a geologic period known as the Permian, the area that you were observing was the bottom of a shallow ocean, which was drying as the northern and southern continents fused to form the supercontinent Pangaea. The carbon from all of the living things that once inhabited this reef, which included primitive corals, bryozoans, sponges, gastropods, prehistoric fish, the last of the trilobites, and many other marine organisms. This carbon ended up forming petroleum and natural gas reserves, which is why this part of the Southwest has so much industry revolving around the extraction of petroleum and natural gas. Just like corals of today, many of the organisms of those primitive reefs produced calcium carbonate, which could then with geologic time, produce the type of stone known as limestone. Many organisms can produce calcium carbonate, which can result in limestone. Immense amounts of limestone was formed over tens of millions of years. This area was destined to be elevated through the movement of tectonic plates and a number of mountain building events known as orogenies. And thus the limestone, which was buried at the bottom of an ocean, then became elevated. As this region became elevated, it came in contact with groundwater. And groundwater can be acidic, not only because carbon dioxide from the air can dissolve in water, but also because hydrogen sulfide, which originated from the sulfur of the ancient marine organisms whose deposits could contribute to petroleum and natural gas. This sulfur from the proteins of these organisms could combine with oxygen from the atmosphere and form sulfuric acid. And sulfuric acid and carbonic acid then dissolved the limestone. The limestone would dissolve whenever it came in contact with this acidic groundwater. And so once the caves were elevated to the point where they were above the level of the groundwater, this dissolving of the limestone stopped. And thus the limestone caverns of Carlsbad Caverns National Park, like the limestone caves throughout the world, this composes the majority of Earth's caves, have resulted from the dissolving of the limestone through acid, and this limestone is the remains of ancient marine organism which laid down calcium carbonate.